From the toxic roller coaster that was Natalie and Philip, to Jay and Camilla's lie of a romance. Here are the worst relationships in the One Chicago universe. Natalie Manning and Philip Davis are first on this list. Let's rewind to season 4, when he brought his pregnant wife into the emergency room, who unfortunately died from a brain aneurysm while she was giving birth. The whole situation was so sad, but somehow her husband found romance in it. Natalie was looking after his daughter, and with her misplaced compassion, started to develop some kind of romantic connection with him. I mean, seriously? Can we say rebound disaster? But wait, it gets even worse. Just when Natalie realizes she has feelings for Will, her on-again, off-again love interest, she's involved in an accident that conveniently causes temporary amnesia. And what does Philip, our charming prince, do? He sneaks an engagement ring on her finger before she even wakes up. I mean, really, what kind of psycho does that? Thankfully, before he's able to manipulate her into marrying him, Dr. Crockett and Marcel come to the rescue. He saw all of it happen in real time. Now, these two do make a strong case for the worst relationship ever, but they're tied with our next contenders, Connor and Ava. This relationship was so toxic that fans found it unnecessary. At first, these two couldn't stop picking at each other like a pair of squabbling siblings. But then, things took a twist when Ava started to catch feelings for him. She started to show her toxic side when he wanted to leave the hospital, and she decided to sleep with his father to get funding for a hybrid operating room. The hybrid OR was like a dream come true for Connor, so naturally he decided to stay. But little did he know just how it came to be. When his father tried to drop the bombshell, Ava denied it for what felt like an eternity, and went to unimaginable lengths to silence him. I'm talking about the unthinkable here. She killed the guy. When Connor figured everything out, she did what nobody could have expected. Her guilt and shame made her take her own life in an operating room. In a devastating and heartbreaking turn of events, Connor bid farewell to the series, while the fans were left in a state of shock. The Chicago Med subreddit is proof of how much fans hated the pairing, since Ava was toxic, manipulative, and crazy. And that's the exact reason why they hated another couple on the show. I'm talking about Sarah Reese and Joey Thomas. Now, these two just didn't make sense to anyone. A Reddit user hit the nail on the head when they said they were never good together. He always seems to bend over backward for her, and she does the bare minimum for him. I wouldn't blame you if these characters slipped your mind because they exited the scene a while back. So, let me refresh your memory. Sarah joined Chicago Med as part of her medical school rotation during her 4th year. She's all wishy-washy about which path to choose. First quitting after getting paired with pathology, then returning to the hospital under the guidance of the fabulous Dr. Daniel Charles in psychiatry. Confused from the start, enter Joey, the hospital's pathology technician, who starts flirting with her. It takes them no time to start dating, but things quickly went south. She goes ballistic on him when she finds out that he's on a dating app. He deletes the app, and they go exclusive. But let's be real here. In a world filled with adults dealing with real-life relationship problems, Sarah and Joey's storyline just felt childish. It's clear fans were not feeling the chemistry between these two. To add to the boring love story, Sarah left in season 4 after a falling out with Dr. Charles, an end that suited their entire relationship. But there's something more annoying than their relationship, like this next couple, Gabriella Dawson and Peter Mills, a stepping stone on the way to Dawsey. It was clear from day one that this romance was not endgame. Fans on Reddit just can't help hating Gabby for being selfish and irresponsible. One user angrily confessed that they had never liked the ship since. She got together with him because Casey turned her down since he was still healing from the break with his fiancée. Then she stays with Mills while having an emotional affair with Casey. A love triangle from hell. I mean, who needs all this unnecessary relationship drama? These couples were missing that special connection, that spark that makes you say, "That's amore." It was obvious to the fans that she was uncomfortable with this love triangle, but she just never wanted to own up to her mistakes. They've also blamed her for Mills leaving the show, because he was a good guy, and he wouldn't have had to leave if she'd never messed with him. Even when she did get with Casey, who she was head over heels for, it got toxic and went from a beloved ship to a huge no-no. But sometimes even two great people can't make it work. I'm thinking about two specific people right now, Sylvie Brett and Joe Cruz. These two adorable people somehow managed to become the most awkward couple ever. I mean, they gave off more sibling vibes than romantic sparks. It all started when she unknowingly attended one of his Zumba classes. Maybe it was the unexpected dance moves? Because Cruz started catching all these feelings. And then Sylvie realized she had feelings for him too. They ended up giving it a try in season 3. But let me tell you, it just didn't feel right. And they were smart to end things. The writers and showrunner didn't let go of the storyline, though. In season 6, Cruz redeveloped his feelings for Brett. He never admitted it to her, but he turned into this jealous weirdo, and that was just not a good look on him. It made his character downright insufferable. Fans on Reddit didn't enjoy this clingy side either, and many of them agreed that the pair had no chemistry. Now, we can't talk about relationships without including one man with the most. This next one is the worst of his many pairings, Kelly Severide and Renee Royce. Out of all the hunks, flings, and romances, this one is by far the most hated. Renee the trickster weaved her way into Kelly's life during season 1. At first, they were genuinely in love with each other. But let me tell you, their relationship was like a wild ride on a roller coaster of emotions. She moved away to Spain just when things were settling down, and obviously, he didn't move with her. But then, Renee made a grand return and dropped a bombshell. She's pregnant with Kelly's baby. Can you believe it? The worst part hadn't even come yet. In the season 2 premiere, Leslie Shea, may she rest in peace, started questioning the math behind Renee's pregnancy. And guess what? It was not adding up. She ended up spilling the truth, breaking Kelly's heart even more. If that wasn't enough, she even tried worming her way back into his life later on, when he was already obsessed with Stella. No wonder she became an annoying pain in the for fans. The next pair might be an unpopular opinion. Haley Upton and Jay Halstead. I say unpopular because they've been pretty non-toxic, to the point that they're just plain old boring. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they should be a little toxic. I'm just saying they had barely any chemistry. And a bunch of fans agree. Reddit users made a whole thread to talk about how boring this couple was. They even said that it felt forced and toxic. Though they liked the two characters on their own, they just didn't make sense together. One fan even said that their scene was so cringe that even those camera angles and cuts couldn't save it from looking like a snooze fest. It would have just been better if they'd stayed friends. Not every good friendship has to turn into a romantic relationship, don't you agree? These two might have ended up together, but before they got with each other, one of them was in a very toxic pairing. Remember when Jay was with Camila Vega? Theirs was a relationship that was doomed from the start. You can't try to build something on lies now, can you? He was undercover when they met, and even after the case ended, she didn't know his real identity. That's why you shouldn't be mixing work and pleasure. It'll end up with you on your couch in a tub of ice cream, instead of that hot date you'd imagined. But let's not forget that she had secrets of her own. Jay had no idea that he was hooking up with a drug dealer, let alone one that was part of a DEA agent's murder. Talk about a serious error in judgment. How can you be a cop and not see that? Oh well, love is blind. From Jay and Camilla's lie of a romance to the toxic roller coaster that was Natalie and Philip. Those were the worst relationships in the One Chicago universe.